Welcome to Cedar Club, Quincy's favorite local bar. A friendly corner bar with a laid-back atmosphere and affordable drinks. It's the perfect spot for a great time. With entertainment galore, including shuffleboard, golden tee, pool, foosball, and winning gaming machines. Cedar Club's latest edition is the best spot to catch your favorite game. Great drinks, great friends, and great times. Cedar Club, 20th and Cedar in Quincy. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Muddy. I'm Ashley Conrad. Joining me today, my friend Megan Duncan and Tina Eifert. And many of you may remember Meg. She is a past Muddy buddy who has since moved on to do more amazing things within our community. But the story that we're going to talk about today has kind of followed you, right?
Yes.
And it's a very, very cool and one of the more interesting stories that I've heard come out of our community in quite some time. So I can see why you decided to kind of take it under your wing and see it to fruition. Yeah,
I did.
So before we go any further, Tina is with the Salvation Army in Hannibal, Missouri, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So this story is about some letters from a long, long time ago that were accidentally donated. Correct?
Yes.
So how did you come across, because you can see them here on the table and they're very organized and well put together. This isn't, I'm assuming, how they were.
No, they came in a box and they were kind of disarrayed. I mean, we just knew there were letters at one point and we opened them up and just kind of read a few and saw how the importance of what they were.
Sure. So you knew immediately, I mean, based on, did you see the pictures as well? Because I know there's a photo album. Okay, so you saw the look of these letters and read a couple and you were like, oh boy, this is some good stuff.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And then, so Meg, how did you get involved?
Yeah, so I just got a message from Amanda Bowen. She's a caseworker in Hannibal Salvation Army, asking me if I would come and, she said, I have a surprise for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Very cool.
And she knows that I love these kind of stories and things like that. So she called me and I went down and she's like, this is a box of letters from a man to his wife during World War II. And I was just like, give them to me.
Yeah. Can't wait to get my hands on them.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
I took the box and I've had them since last week. Yeah, so.
And you've read every single letter?
Every single one.
Okay, so you put this together. So in a nutshell, somebody accidentally donated a bunch of letters and photos from, what'd you say, World War I or World War II? Okay, World War II. Writing back and forth, a husband and wife. And you read every letter and then put your notes on the outside, kind of summarizing what each section of letters.
I date sorted. I went through and I date sorted all the letters and read every single letter. And then as I was reading, I would take and write the highlights from each letter on a card. And so that way I would know what the highlights of each letter was, so that when I went then later to try to put everything into a story, I would have some kind of way to
recollect what you were reading. So you did write a full-on beautiful story that is on Salvation Army's website.
Thank you.
I read the whole thing. It's of course of your caliber. It's an amazing story.
Well, thank you.
The content, I imagine, made it easy to write. So it's about Chester and
Bernice.
Okay. And he had just gone off to war. They'd been together for how long?
So they'd been married for 2 years.
Okay. And it's just writing back and forth. The way that you wrote the story kind of does very well summarize the letters. It kind of immerses you into their writing back and forth.
Yes.
And you really get a picture for their relationship.
Yes.
Which is very loving, of
Yes.
course, but also very funny. They seem like very personable people.
Exactly. So, and actually the letters themselves are only from him.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool because, I mean, I don't know where her letters ever went, but she, being the woman, saved the letters from him. And so who knows? There might be, he was stationed in the Philippines for most of his service, so they might be somewhere in the Philippines. I don't know, but yes, I was able to get such a a deep look into their lives, and he would respond to her so I would know what she was writing to him about.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, he was heartfelt and just really, really funny. Like, he had a signature ha.
Yeah.
So he would say things like, oh yes, when our first, how did he put it? When Junior is born, he'll be 13 pounds. Ha.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he just, all throughout, you would find so many ha's.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he just, his personality and just their relationship itself, you could see he just he trusted her so much. And I loved that and he thanked her constantly.
Yeah. You could really feel the genuine love.
Yes.
Just in your story. So
Yeah.
I can imagine what you felt reading the actual letters.
Yes.
So when I read the story, basically the goal was to find, someone who was related to Chester or Bernadine. Is Bernadine?
Well,
Bernice?
so her real name is Alma.
Alma,
Alma, and her maiden name was Magdalene. I think I'm saying it right. But her middle name was Bernice, so he would call her Bernice, and then sometimes he would refer to her as my Almy.
Almy, yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of back
and forth.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah,
so.
love it. So you were trying to find someone in the family who could claim the letters and kind of figure out how they got donated and where they came from, where they originated, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I read the story, you hadn't found the owner yet.
Right.
There's since been an update.
Yeah. So I had talked to some people. They were originally when the letters were written, it was Murfreesboro, Illinois.
Okay.
Is where the letters are at, or going back and forth from, and so. Which this is part of what's so cool about the story is that in the letters, Chester talks about how he wants to open a business one day, and just talks about it. And then when I looked and found his obituary, he actually did run a cabinetry business until he retired. So he did that. And when I looked, I saw the cabinetry, it listed it as still open.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, so that must be a relative because it listed a McMean that ran that. But then I called and it was actually out of business. So Google's not current on that one.
Yeah.
No. So I talked to Chamber of Commerce down there to see what they had, and they referred me onto a local historical society. And so I talked to them and ended up where they got me an address. But so I was about to actually sit down and write him a letter. And I'm literally sitting, which if you know me at all, I'm sitting in the middle booth at Mimi's coffee shop. And so I'm sitting there and I'm writing Dear Mr. McMean. And I look and my phone is ringing and it's a Carbondale, Illinois number, which is where the family ended up. And I'm like, oh, and it was him.
Wow.
It was the guy I was writing a letter to.
His son, right?
Yeah, his son.
Their son, yeah.
It was their son, yes. And I'm just like, oh man, and he said, well, I heard you've been looking for me. And it was funny because I had originally been told that him and his wife had passed away. And he was just like, I was just in Tennessee.
Not dead, just in Tennessee.
Okay, well, that's good.
So he found out that you were doing a story on this.
Yeah, he found out about it, and he is just as nice as I would assume his parents were.
Yeah.
So kind, and just thought it was hilarious that he had been presumed dead.
That's hilarious. Now, did he know the letters existed?
From what I could tell, he did not know that the letters existed or how they got all the way to Hannibal.
Yeah.
So, but he definitely wants them.
Of course.
And he was just like, oh yes, well, so we're making arrangements for him to come down or possibly meet somewhere. He's like I said, he was so nice, and he was just like, I don't want Salvation Army or you to be paying for this.
Sure.
I want to make sure that I take care of it. So we're figuring out how to, because it's, I think Carbondale's like 5 hours or something.
Yeah.
It's a ways.
It's a ways, yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's a cool story. Cool enough that you said a couple pretty big news sources have picked up the story, right?
Yeah.
Fox News.
Yeah,
was
Fox,
one of them.
Fox 2. And People Magazine picked it up.
The Washington Post was asking about it, so I don't know if they're going to do something with the story too.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how many instances like this have happened. Obviously not too many where you actually physically have the letters that have, and then accidentally donated, and then you find find someone in the family to take them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they end up somewhere, that a lot of people can enjoy.
Yeah.
At least the story, your
Yes.
story.
That was the goal with them. I didn't want to throw them away. When they came in, I knew the significance of what this
Sure.
was. And so I really and truly wanted to find the family
Yeah.
that they belong to and to get them back to them.
Yeah,
and if we
absolutely.
couldn't, at least donate them somewhere, like,
Sure.
the VFW or someone that would, a museum,
Yeah.
that they can take them and display them for people to read and see.
Yes,
So.
they are definitely priceless. Now, I am sure you've had other interesting things come your way as Salvation
We
Army.
do get a lot of
Yeah.
interesting things. Yes.
Probably nothing quite like this, though.
No, this
Yeah.
was big.
Yeah.
I loved this,
Yeah.
and I'm glad we were able to see what it was for what
Sure.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I appreciate, is that they found them and then understood that they were something special.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
very
I mean,
important.
there's such a beautiful story there of and like the story spells out, he, they were 2 years into marriage and he makes all these promises to her, and then you look at their life and he kept them all.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she did too.
So they stayed together. How many? So he talks about a Christmas, right, coming home for the holidays.
He was trying to get home for the holidays, and he ended up. The last letter is right before the holidays, so I think he probably did get home, but I don't know for sure.
Sure.
But they, when I found her obituary when she died, it was a little right. I think the day before their anniversary, but it was like their 68th anniversary.
Wow.
So they lived the
long
rest
time.
of their lives together, and here they were, just 2 years into marriage at this point. And I'm sure they went through their ups and downs like everyone else. But man, it's just a really great story of here's the beginning, and then it just was awesome to see, this beautiful thing come together for,
It really is a love story that could have been buried with them.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that
Yes.
something that we all get to live and experience through
Yeah.
not only the letters, but your story, which of course is fantastic.
Well,
Now,
thank
if
you.
somebody wants to read your story, where would they go? I know it's Salvation Army, but I don't remember the whole website. It's like,
do you know it?
It's the Salvation Army.
Quincy website, right?
I think it's the Hannibal one.
No, I know. I think it's the Quincy website. Oh, sorry.
well, if you just Google Salvation Army and then you go to stories.
Yeah, the
I know
Quincy
that-
is our area command is Quincy.
Okay.
But the
Oh,
story is in Hannibal.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
Google Salvation Army Hannibal.org.
Yeah.
If that's
Or,
Okay.
well, I
Where
do
it
know
is.
you can go to the
Did we publish it?
Facebook page. I don't know. I don't think we've seen it anywhere for that particular story to be published. I
Okay.
don't think that one's been anywhere, but
I know on our
it's,
Facebook page it has been. On
Okay.
the Salvation Army
Yes,
Hannibal's
yes.
Facebook page.
well, and I do know it's on the Quincy Facebook page too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, and hopefully Muddy River News will publish if we haven't already. Sorry, I don't know that. But it's a great story nonetheless. And the letters are fantastic. Thank you for realizing the,
Yes.
the priceless nature of
yeah.
what you've received. Thank you for taking the story under your wing and seeing it to completion, and for reaching out and finding the rightful owner of these. I can't imagine how exciting and how cool and treasured that these letters and these photos are going to be. And as you
Yeah.
can see, the couple, their pictures are out front here. So just just a really cool way
Yeah.
to kind of piece it all together. Thank you girls so much.
Yeah.
Really, really am so appreciative that this all came
Yeah,
together.
thanks for having
Yes,
us.
thank you
We
so much.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Coming up next, I sit down with Don O'Brien. We talk scams. Stay tuned.
The Tower, a great place to meet and eat. But did you know the Tower has one of the finest drink selections in our area? Along with its incredible Mexican menu, the Tower specializes in tequilas for every taste. Names like Patron, Cabo Wabo, and Hornitos. And don't forget the margaritas. On Mondays and Tuesdays, stop by and pick up a single topping pizza and get Tower margaritas to go. Enjoy the Tower at home or in our dining room, bar area, or the Tower's signature climate-controlled porch. The Tower Pizza and Mexican in Quincy.
Welcome out to Kelly's on Broadway tonight. We're drinking cold beer and it feels so right. I'll meet you out on Broadway underneath Shamrock Light. We're gonna have a good time on the patio tonight. There's a party down at Kelly's on Broadway tonight. We're drinking cold beer on a champagne night. We're feeling all alone and you got no place to go. So come down here and drink a beer on Kelly's patio. Kelly's a fun place to eat and drink. 2902 Broadway.
Are you looking for the perfect venue for your next special event? Check out Utopia Event Center. Utopia has a large banquet room and an awesome bar area, perfect for anything from birthday parties to formal corporate meetings. It also offers a photo booth, stage for a DJ or a live band, and a fully stocked bar, all for only $300. Check us out at utopiaeventcenter.com or call Barn at 217-430-6559 for more information. Utopia Event Center, 900 North 12th Street in Quincy.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
Welcome to the Abbey, a Quincy tradition. With 6 big screens, a new larger kitchen, and now more seating capacity, the Abbey is the place to be before, during, and after the big game. Come enjoy fan favorite appetizers, steaks, burgers, and a variety of daily food and drink specials. Can't join us? Carryout is available too. Now with a convenient drive-up window to better serve you. 1736 Spring in Quincy. Opens at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Come join all your friends at the Abbey, a Quincy tradition.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
And welcome back. Joining me now, my pal D.O.B. And D.O.B., you brought Christmas with you.
Just like that.
Magic. I love it. You also brought with you some, let's call them warnings about maybe Christmas shopping, holiday shopping for your loved ones or
social media ads.
Yeah.
We really want people to beware when they go see those things on social media, because as you know, when you're doing your internet searches and you're looking for things at this time of year, all of a sudden you go to your social media, whether that's, I think the 2 drivers of that, especially for us old folks, would be Facebook. For the younger folks, it might be TikTok.
Sure.
Or Instagram. They all have their own areas where you can buy things from, and we just want you to make sure that there are scams out there.
Yeah.
You might see some things. We see some free trial scams that go through those social media. We see a lot of counterfeit products, and I think that's probably the thing at this time of year that we're probably worried about more than anything else is you going to a website where you might think you're getting something, but it's not really what it looks like on the screen in front of you.
Yeah, I've had that before. Dang it. I feel like I'm a cautionary tale. So, the ads pop up and you're like, oh, I was just searching for greenery for my deck, right? And then an ad pops up on social media and you're like, oh, well, and it's kind of like a stalker ad because, it's always listening, right? It always hears you and sees what you're doing. So it shows you what you are searching for or what you're interested in. So it's hard to ignore because of that reason. And then when you click on it and you buy it, it's like super cheap most of the time. It's like too good to be true, which I should have known. But I was looking for like an ivy backdrop for the back of my deck just to make it look a little more, friendly, welcoming. And it came like the size of a placemat.
Yeah. Which you actually got the product that
I did, but
it wasn't what they portrayed it to be online.
No, and it took like 8 weeks. So by then it was winter and I had a greenery placemat and I spent pretty good money on it.
Yeah. So, you did not, what they advertised was not exactly what you received.
Right.
And we hear a lot of that. We get a lot of that, especially to our scam tracker at bbb.org. You can look up our scam tracker anytime. And, the counterfeit goods, it could be, we see a lot in the world of sporting goods and sporting, like, you want your Patrick Mahomes jersey. Well, that might be $178, $179 from the NFL shop.
Yeah.
But then, oh my gosh, I found it for $69.99. I'm going to go for $69.99 rather than $179.
Yeah.
And you may get something that's okay, but you may get something that's not okay, but you're going to get something that's not authorized and legitimate by buying from that other site.
Right.
Even, things like purses and jewelry and things of that nature. As you said a minute ago, the price is going to be the telltale sign. That's going to tell you whether it's too good to be true. And there's also the chance while you got something that wasn't what you thought it was going to be, we also hear a lot of times from people that when they send their money to these places, they don't get anything.
They get nothing.
Yeah. So
that's happened to me too.
Yeah.
Because
everything's happened to you.
It has.
Ashley.
I mean, I'm not talking recently because I think I'd like to think that I'm getting smarter, especially being able to visit with you weekly. But before we knew a lot about this, and some people may not, especially, I don't want to say older generations, but yeah, just, when you don't know that these things are out there and you click on it and you're like, ooh, well, this fits within my budget, right? And you're trying to do something nice. But yeah, you'll be lucky if you see it. And it used to be when you went to the website, a lot of times you could tell because it would say HTTP and not HTTPS.
Yes, correct.
Which means it's like a secure, legit site. But now even the illegitimate sites have that S at the end as well.
So there's a couple things you can do. You can go and you can do internet URL. You can see how old that URL is. You can put that address into a search engine. The one I use the most is a website called whois.com.
Okay.
It tells you how old that website is. And I mean, just because it's a new website doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but that's going to be a red flag for you, especially if we've been in business since 2004.
Right.
And your website goes back to July of 2024.
Right.
Something's not that.
Or if it ticks all the other boxes that you're like, I don't know, and then you go look and it's relatively new, chances are it's probably
correct.
not. Yeah.
So, there's things you can do. You can look that up. Again, you've got to look at other things like payment method. How are they asking you to pay?
Yeah.
Credit card is obviously going to be the best if they're asking you to pay with one of those electronic forms of payment, your Cash App, things of those natures. I've heard horror stories from people who have bought things through various social media sites, advertised they've seen on there. They pay with one of those electronic forms of payment and they receive nothing in return. Because again, once you send that money off to them, that's like me handing you cash and you're hoping that they deliver on that good.
Right. And then along with the ads that you see on social media as well, sometimes there are marketplace scams going around on social media as well. The one we've talked about before is the car that looks too good to be true that someone's selling, and it's a pretty nice car like a Honda Accord or something, and it's only like $3,000. Just do some double checking on those as well.
If you find a business, you put that business's name in a search engine and put space BBB, and you can find two things. That'll either give you to a business profile that we might have on that business, or it could even take you to our scam tracker. Because each one of our scam trackers is logged and it goes through Google. So if you have a retailer you might want to do business with, if they pop up on scam tracker, that might be a good sign that you might not want to do business with them.
Red flag.
Yep.
Yeah. Another thing I've seen just recently, and I want to mention this quickly, is Donald Trump paraphernalia, we'll call it merchandise, swag, whatever it is, silver coins, gold coins that have that kind of weird, the website has that weird look, and you can kind of tell if you've been on a few, if you've been a victim, I'll say. So I just clicked on it because I was like, well, this is interesting. And it was very apparent that it was a scam and the pricing was not right. And it was, but I think they're aiming it at relevance. They
go again. Again, we talked before about scammers go what's within the news.
Yeah.
And obviously the presidential election that we just had is something that's big in the news. Christmas time, holiday season, they're always out trying to do things.
Yep.
Again, just buyer beware. Use your noggin while you're out there shopping.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you never want to get scammed, but the holidays would almost be like the worst time.
Double whammy.
Yeah, it is double whammy.
Because oftentimes, if you're buying something in June, it's more likely for you.
Right.
But this time of year, you might be buying for loved ones, and then, we're early enough now, but let's say, okay, it'll be with here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks comes, you don't get it, and then now you're stuck trying to buy something different for that.
You don't want to show up to the gift exchange with nothing because you got hosed, right?
Correct.
Yes. And then the last thing I want to mention, because we talked about it last time, the text messages that are kind of like phishing for you to send or respond. Did
you receive one of those?
I did.
Isn't it shocking how what we talk about in here just happens to show up to you the next week?
It comes full circle. But yeah, it was a 702 number, and it said, "Did you block me? I can't find you." My immediate reaction was, no, who's this?
Right.
But I was like, nope. According to DOB, this is a red flag. I'm not doing it. So I kept it to show you.
And I saw that.
I'm proud
of you.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to mention it because a lot of times I don't want anybody to think that we're fear-mongering or just throwing these fake scenarios out there just to have something to talk about. These things are happening daily and multiple times daily to people I know and love and to me personally. So it's not something you should be ashamed of if it's happening to you, but you can always, do your best to avoid it by listening to DOB, going to the BBB.org
So, okay,
website.
so with that in mind, I don't know if you remember, but in January we talked about your scam resolutions. You had 5 scam resolutions we talked about that we put out. So maybe we're going to revisit those in December at some time to see how well. I'm very proud of you, by the way. You're really progressing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that because before, old Ash, she would have been had. But,
I'm glad I'm here to help you.
I was just gonna say, but thanks to DOB, I'm on my way to being scam free.
Awesome.
I just made a rhyme there too. Hey, looky there.
Look at
well,
you.
Thank you so much, Don O'Brien. I appreciate you coming in and chatting with me and bringing Christmas and
it's like that,
right?
Thank
Magic.
you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right, I think that does it for today's Daily Muddy. We'll catch you back here tomorrow for more.